Welcome.
It's
Hello.
the- it's
Welcome.
the-
We're going.
it-
Go ahead. Just do it.
Okay. I was like going to say, who does the intro now? I don't know.
Oh, because this is a new format now.
Hi, welcome to the Media Boat Podcast. It's the beginning of something new. It is the start of two things. It's start 2019, because today is January 2nd, 2019.
So happy New Year.
So happy New Year. Glad that you could join us today. And it is also the start of Season 4. Can you believe that?
You know, after this we get syndication, right?
Yeah, right? Yeah. Syndication money.
Yeah.
Season 4 of the Media Boat Podcast. Woo, 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 woo.
So what does that mean?
That means that we've been doing the Media Boat Podcast, a podcast where we bring you news about movies, television, video games, and music, not necessarily in that order, for 3 whole years. And then we're going to start our fourth calendar year right now.
Oof.
And that's intense to think about.
Intense.
So, yeah, this is, as I said, a show about media. How this is going to work this season is we're going to split hosting duties down the middle. Mike is going to take care of the movies and the television news.
And then Matt is going to take care of the music and the video game news.
It's true. All
Yes.
of this await you and more on the Media Boat Podcast this season.
Also this season, we're not going to do 4 stories.
No, we're
As
making it a little
we're
bit
used to.
more digestible this year. We've cut it down to 2 stories each. This is to keep the episodes from being 2 hours long.
Yeah, so our goal is to make them 1 hour longs. But if we hit that hour mark, we may just cut it. No, I don't think so. I think we'll just go.
They'll be shorter.
They'll be
naturally.
shorter.
And we're going to probably spin off special episodes like award coverage and E3 coverage and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Or if we deem it necessary to talk a lot about a new release, maybe we'll spin that out into its own little 30-minute podcast. We're going to play around with having more special kind of event episodes, so that way our regular episodes don't get bogged down in lengthy conversations.
Right.
So, let's start. Go for it. Take the
I think
lead.
you start this, right?
No, you start this. You're Mr. Movies.
Right, but I think we
Oh,
start
are we
with
going to
the
do it
switch.
opposite? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Okay.
No, so
well,
I
then
found
I'll
the
start
news.
this.
but Matt's going to read it.
Okay, well, let's start with movies, because we always start with movies.
And the weekend box office.
And the weekend box office numbers! Starting with your number 1 movie, which is debuts at number 1, technically. I say technically because it was kind of a mid-week, Christmas week release.
Yeah.
But this is a proper, people had time to see it kind of thing. Your number 1 movie this week was Aquaman. DC's Aquaman with $52 million. That is a domestic total so far of 189. So that thing will definitely cross the 200 mark.
Mhm.
Obviously not in calendar year 2018, but it will in 2019.
But it'll still count as a 200 million plus for the
Yes.
2018.
Not a bad start. Now, yeah.
Yeah.
Expected. Nothing super surprising.
It's a superhero film.
Yeah.
Jason Momoa. Didn't see it yet, but probably will.
Okay.
All right, number 2.
Moving on, number 2, Mary Poppins Returns comes right under there with $28 million. That's just south of 100 million domestic.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Disney's still trying to hope they get a return on that.
Bumblebee, your number 3 movie with $20 million. That's a 67 million total domestic right now. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse comes in with another $18 million. That crosses the 100 threshold. That's
Yay!
at 104 million. Well deserved.
Well deserved.
And The Mule still hanging out. Clint Eastwood still hanging out by his drugs, his pile of drugs. And number 5, with $12 million, going up to 61 million. If you're wondering where Vice is,
Where are the new releases? Vice and Holmes.
Vice is at number 6 with $7 million. Probably accurate for how that thing's budgeted.
Yeah.
And Holmes and Watson bombs in the box office
No
in its
way.
first week. $7 million, only $19 million domestic so far, and man, that thing is going badly in the Metacritic and Rotten Tomatoes
I've
averages.
heard stories of people walking out on this film.
Apparently it is very, very bad.
How bad is it?
Apparently it's so bad that I saw it hanging out around 19% on
Ooh.
Rotten Tomatoes, which is no good.
No.
So yeah, that's your box office this week. You have any comments about it? Do you see any of these movies?
I did not see any movies. I still plan on seeing Aquaman at some point. Probably next Friday, doing a dinner date with the doctor. So
a doctor dinner date, a triple
dinner.
D.
Yes,
as Guy Fieri would call it.
Yes, he would.
All right, let's move on to upcoming releases. This week's slow week. We have 2 movies, though. Hopefully you know something about this.
Okay.
There's one called Eli.
Pass.
What is Eli?
Pass. I don't know.
It's not about Eli Manning.
No, it's not about Eli Manning. It's
no
not
passing.
It's not about the Book of Eli.
Okay. Who
Pass.
What is this?
I doubt this thing will actually get released because I haven't seen anything about it.
Oh.
So I have not seen the trailer for it. I don't know what this is.
Okay.
Pass.
Okay, good. There's also something called Escape Room, which I have a guess about what this is.
What is your guess about what this is?
Is this a horror movie where people get trapped in an escape room?
Yes.
Okay.
They go to an escape room to have fun, but the escape room is real. There's actual horror elements in it. Actual, like, Saw stuff, blood and gore.
Ugh. I was going to say, like, they go to an escape room to have fun. I was going to say, that's their first mistake.
Escape rooms are fun.
I don't know. They sound terrible to me. Those are your 2 new releases, and that's it.
Escape rooms are awesome.
So
maybe
don't
not
go
this
see
film,
movies
but...
this week. Actually, you know what? Go see a movie this week. Go see Spider-Man, and don't see anything else.
Yes.
That's
Matt, go
advice.
see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I will. I'm trying. Every time I suggest it to people, they're like, not today.
Have you suggested it to me?
No!
But I've already seen it.
You've already seen it. That's not the point. Let's move on then.
Alright, let's move on.
Let's move on into movie news. Our first 2 stories of the 2019 year.
So this story happened today.
Oh, jeez. Breaking news.
I had to change our storyline up because I had something else here. But because this is big breaking news, we had to change it.
We have breaking news about Warner Brothers. It looks like they have bought a library.
They bought some films.
They bought a library owned by somebody who's not doing so hot right now. Had a pretty bad 2018. But yeah, it's the Rat Pack Dune Library, which...
That's the Brett Ratner
That's the Brett
company.
Ratner bunch.
Yes.
And the movies, I guess, he had a producing hand in.
Or his company had a producing hand in.
His company had some sort of production.
Most likely, it's either financial or production-based.
Yeah.
Because of that, they have stake in each film.
Delicious steak.
Warner Brothers has purchased said steak for a complete meal.
To the tune of $290 million to $300 million.
Yeah.
The library, by the way, consists, like you said, 15 to 25% stake of 76 big-ticket films that the studio co-financed with the help of Rat Pack Dune through its slate deal. The original deal was to co-finance 75 pictures over a 4-year span, and the traditional route is for investors in such ventures to cash out.
Yep.
The library consists of minority stakes in films that include Gravity, Wonder Woman, Batman v Superman, The Lego Movie, Creed, Annabelle, Godzilla, American Sniper, Mad Max Fury Road, It, and Dunkirk.
So as you can see, those are some big box office hits right there.
Yeah, I hear a lot of Nolan.
I hear a lot of
Lord, Phil Miller.
I see that a lot of these are Warner Brothers films. So yes, it would make sense that they would want this.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers. So actually, this entire slate was on sale prior in November.
Yeah.
But Warner Brothers has first bid options, which is why they came in with the $300 million bid to basically say, we want to keep these films at Warner Brothers. We want the extra money for them.
Yep.
And they think it's going to pay off.
That's good. Hopefully it will.
Yep.
All right.
Well, that was on the next story.
Yeah, that's really good.
Good job,
one.
Yeah.
Our next story is, not surprising.
Speaking of payoffs.
They're making another Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
Or are they?
Well, looks like they might. But it's going to be a little different this time. The upcoming film has brought on the Deadpool writers, Brett Reese and Paul Wernick, to write. It'll be the 6th film, by the way, in the Pirates franchise.
I believe we have covered this part already.
Yeah. But guess what?
What?
It will be losing a key element of those movies.
Who?
Johnny Depp, the key element of those movies. Yeah, it looks like Johnny Depp will either have to take a pay cut or sit this one out because he's asking for $90 million to make this movie.
Wait, so you're saying I could save $90 million by not casting Johnny Depp?
I mean, that's basically the studio's choice here.
I believe the studio will indeed make that choice.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if they end up banking on the name of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise over Johnny Depp's character.
Yes.
Especially now, like, I feel like Disney would have other reasons maybe to not cast Johnny Depp in their movies anymore. I would hope.
Like Warner Brothers reasons?
Well, I mean, besides that. But yes, I think that there's a possibility that, yeah, they could easily make one of these and see how it fares without Johnny Depp.
What would that be like? A Pirates film without Johnny Depp?
I mean, to be fair, I haven't liked a Pirates film since the first one, so I'm the wrong person to ask here.
Okay.
But if anybody's a fan, please tell us whether you would like to see a Pirates movie without Johnny Depp in it.
I think we're going to get it no matter what happens.
I guess so. But yeah, that's it for movie news.
All right.
Okay, so you didn't see any movies?
No, that brings us to our thoughts. Do we have any thoughts?
I don't think so. I didn't see any movies this week.
No. January is typically a slow movie season.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens after the Golden Globes this upcoming Sunday.
Right, yes.
And then that'll basically determine what are the front runners for the Oscars. And then I'll start seeing those type of films.
Yeah.
But speaking of the Golden Globes, that's a good segue to TV.
To television, and we always start television with sports.
So football's been happening.
Yes.
Well, football ended as of like 3 days ago. And as such, a bunch of coaches got fired on what is typically called Black Monday. 9 head coaches lost their jobs.
Yikes. That's rough.
Yes. However, don't be surprised if some of these head coaches land in other opportunities and then become head coaches again. Okay. NFL is sports is one of the weird places where you can reach the top level, get fired from it, and then still retain that job.
Weird.
Yeah. In other news, we now know it's been bowl season in the college football world.
Yep.
We know who's going to be playing the national championship game. And no surprise, surprise, it's Alabama-Clemson. Again. This is like the third or fourth time they've met for the national championship since they've done the playoff format. And yeah, sounds boring, but you know, if you can't win against Alabama or Clemson, do you deserve to be there?
Not. Yeah.
Also, this just gives me another great response to bring up Dabo Swinney and the name Dabo Swinney as the coach.
Dabo Swinney.
Yes.
Leave him in 2018. He's dabbing away. That's the college national championship, and then the NFL wildcard games.
Wildcard.
Saturday and Sunday this week.
Yes.
Who's playing for the wildcard spots?
The Colts versus the Texans. The Colts got in the playoffs.
That's good.
The Colts got it. So we got Colts, Texans, Eagles, Cowboys.
Okay.
Seahawks, someone.
Okay.
And then AFC teams.
So after this weekend, we'll have an idea.
Ravens, Chargers will play this week.
Okay. So after this weekend, we'll have an idea of what our playoff picture is going to look at.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, so it's Bears, Eagles, Cowboys, someone, NFC team. Oh, Cowboys, Seahawks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cowboys, Seahawks, Eagles, Bears for NFC. And then Colts, Texans versus Chargers. Who did I say? Chargers. Ravens. Chargers, Ravens for the AFC. And then whoever wins there will win their wild card spot and go on to play more NFL games.
That's true.
They still have a shot at winning the Super Bowl.
That's how that works.
That's usually how that works.
Yeah, I think so. Anything else in sports before we move on to television?
In terms of sports happening?
Yeah.
No.
Any other sports?
I mean, the Winter Classic happened. The Boston Bruins won. Oh, and I explained Touchdown Jesus again. Yeah, that's always fun.
You always Touchdown Jesus is always fun.
Touchdown Jesus. The Winter Classic played New Year's Day to the tune of People at well, it's always outdoors. So this year it was at
we just talked
the
about
Irish Notre Dame Stadium, which is why they have Touchdown Jesus.
Touchdown Jesus.
Yeah, it's always fun playing Touchdown Jesus.
But yeah, that was it for sports then.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, let's move on to television news.
And first one's a bummer. Or
yeah,
is it?
Kind of. Yes, I don't know. Who's a big fan of this network? I'm not really sure. I don't know. All I know about the network Fuse, which is what we're talking about in the story, is that I believe they were the network that aired Pants Off, Dance Off.
I don't know. Maybe. That's all you know, Fuse?
Do you remember Pants Off, Dance Off?
No.
Okay. It was this show where the premise was they would play, like, music, and then, like, the idea was you were supposed to strip to your underwear.
Oh.
While the music was playing. And I don't know if it... I don't remember if it was a contest between two people, or whether it was just one person doing it, and it was, like, timed or something.
No, thank you. Pass.
Maybe there was a voting process?
Pass on that. No, thank you.
That's all I remember about Fuse. Anyways, well, Fuse is all but dead. Looks like Comcast and Verizon Fios, two services, are dropping Fuse from its available content. The channel had met Comcast financial demands and no other requirements were ever communicated, which makes the sudden drop more mysterious. Fuse disclosed it would lose carriage as of January 1st to its 30 million households. This could signal the beginnings of cable companies shutting down underperforming niche channels.
Makes sense.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I don't know anybody who cares about Fuse. I don't even know what they do anymore.
I don't know. I just know that while researching this, Jennifer Lopez has a stake in Fuse.
Yeah, I saw...
That's about all I've seen.
The Variety headline just says, Jennifer Lopez's Fuse network, and I was like, wait, it's hers?
It's like, okay, I guess that's as much as they'll disclose about it.
That's the problem with these, like, deep cable channels, is that, like, if you don't have a clear gimmick, you're like, what the hell is this? Like, who watches this? Who's this for?
Right.
Like, the branding of Fuse, the name, it does not tell you what is on Fuse.
It tells me it's supposed to be for the urban. It's like
what does that mean, though, anymore? I don't know what that means.
Whatever BET and MTV don't cover? So VH1 ripoff?
Yeah, but not even, because VH1 became reality shows at some point.
Right.
So yeah, who the hell knows what Fuse was and is, or was, I guess. Because, yeah, it'll be going away soon.
Alright, pass. Next.
Next up, our, of course, weekly Netflix show, story, but our first for the year, I guess. That makes it interesting.
Yes, but this is less about Netflix and more just about streaming platforms.
Yeah, the EU is giving both Netflix and Amazon 2 years to make 30% of their catalogs European.
I'm a what now?
European.
Oh, European.
Yeah. They want the streaming networks to bulk up their European content, which makes sense if you're in the EU and you want your people to see European-made content. So, yeah, the new regulation, which takes effect on September 19th, 2020, so over a year in the future.
So they have over a year to basically fix all this.
It will require video streaming companies that operate in the EU to ensure that at least 30% of its catalog is made up of European works.
Now, what does that 30% mean?
Well, clarification of the 30% means hours of content, numbers of videos, or production jobs, but that will be made clear by the end of 2019.
So it's 30% of something, they just haven't defined what that is.
Netflix opened, by the way, a new production office in Spain over the past year, and Amazon added both a British and German original TV series over the last over the last year. So they're making moves.
So it sounds like they knew this was something that was going to happen,
or potentially going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, look forward to more. This was weird for me to read because there seems to be like a lot of British content on Netflix.
Right.
Like we get the British baking show, and we get like weird ass like.
Yeah, there's a lot of like
home shows
out of the U.S. content.
Yeah.
But I think they want specifically EU related, and I guess now British doesn't count as EU.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. So yeah, I guess
so if Brexit
British
goes
content
through,
won't count for
if Brexit goes through, the British content will not count as EU content.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's going to be a weird adjustment period. Yeah. Like stopping, like think about like, oh yeah, the EU is different.
You're saying the EU and Britain,
and also Britain, and also the UK.
Yes.
Weird. But yeah, that's it for television news. Did you watch any television this week? I know the answer to this.
This is yes, because this comes into thoughts. So, in addition to watching sports, I somehow got the doctor to watch Black Mirror, Bandersnatch.
All right, so this was a big story last week because you mentioned anything about Black Mirror, people get excited. But not only was this a new episode of Black Mirror, this was Netflix saying, hey, we made this one a interactive experience, a choose-your-own-adventure, if you will, experience. So, what's a Bandersnatch, and is it female genitalia?
No, Bandersnatch is a book, or a video game, rather, adaptation. It's set in the 1985, or 84.
In the 1985.
In the 1985.
They're like the band that plays after the 1975, right?
Yeah, you know, after 10 years, they just become the 1985.
If they're going to Jefferson Starship this.
Yes.
They're going to change when the times change.
So, 1984. You're a young, up-and-coming video game developer.
I am?
Yes, you are.
Cool.
Or at least that's what you're watching. And you get to choose the choices he makes.
Okay.
Or do you? The reason I say this very ominously is because that's part of, like, the gimmick of it is the illusion of choice. Do you actually have a choice?
Okay.
How much choice is there? And if you make a choice, because there's several times when you make a choice, and then the character basically refuses to do that as part of the narrative of choice within Black Mirror episode.
Okay. So it's BioShock?
No, because there's not underwater.
I know, I'm kidding.
I know what you mean.
Anyways.
But it goes through a lot of that. Also, there's multiple... It says there's multiple endings, but it's really not. There's really only like 2 or 3 concrete endings. The other ones are like, oh, you really want to play off the beaten path? Fine. We'll play, and then we'll just end it for you. Or we'll okay, we see what you're doing here, but this isn't what we're trying to say here.
Do you think that that's all narrative, or do you think that there's also a quotient to like a part of this where they know that a lot of people watching this are not familiar with interactive content like this, and so maybe they're trying to simplify it?
Yes, and I think they also know that a lot of people do know what this is and are playing to them. Like, they want to find all the endings, which is also plays into it because you have to complete certain endings in order to unlock other endings as well.
Okay.
One thing I will note is that when you complete an ending, it will basically say, okay, you've done this. Like, here's the ending. Now rewind to this part. Like, this specific action where you take the other choice. It's not... In some parts, it'll open up to like 1 or 2 choices. But for the most part, it's go back to this single choice.
Okay.
And make a different choice.
Yeah, so it seems like a really simplified version of that kind of thing.
It is. Mm-hmm. And it's fun, but it's also not as in-depth as you may think it is.
Is this now we've played some of the previous Netflix interactive content before, which was all before this made for children.
Yes.
So how is this compared as an experience to those things? Is it similar, or like have they improved on the technology? Is it about the same?
It's different because whereas with the kids, it's a single narrative and you're just making choice to A and B. Like here's your choice, A and B, but then it all comes back to single narrative. Make it like the illusion of choice.
Oh, okay.
Which is what Bandersnatch alludes to.
Narratively,
it alludes to that, but it actually does give you significant choices that affects the story.
So beyond the interactivity, then, does this work? Is this an entertaining episode of Black Mirror on the level of your favorite Black Mirror episodes?
I'm not sure how well this works because with Black Mirror episodes, there's typically a single ending.
Yeah.
And so there's typically a single narrative that they're trying to tell.
So it's hard to compare.
So it's hard to compare because there's multiple endings. But also within the multiple endings, it's basically played to your choices of how they unfold, which is kind of loose, basically what they're getting at.
Okay.
And it's not super like concrete in any sense of the word. Whereas most Black Mirror episodes are, here's the story we're trying to tell you, here's why technology's bad, blah blah blah. So it works in the narrative it's trying to tell you in terms of like, oh, you like choice. You have no choice. There's a illusion of choice. Maybe you have a choice. Maybe you don't. Maybe the only choice is to not have a choice and let other people decide for you. But that only works within this. I don't see this actually like branching out into other stuff.
Okay.
It's really weird.
You don't think they're going to do this again, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
So, so we have some comment from the audience here. It looks like, was this something you wanted to continue? Did you lose interest at some point? Because one of our viewers says that they gave up after a certain event happened. Like, I don't want to spoil anything.
Well, let me see.
It's a spoiler.
I already watched it. It's not a spoiler for me.
So yeah, like, was there any moment where you were just like, I want to bail on this?
No, because as a gamer, I want to see all the endings.
Yes, but put yourself in the shoes of someone who's just in here because they like Black Mirror or television shows like this.
All right, so I'll say yes. The doctor did walk out after I made some choices.
Okay. She was just like, all right, I don't like where this is going.
Yeah, she's like, I don't like where this is going. Okay. You gotta go ahead and finish it. Tell me when you're done.
I like that. Yeah, because that's the danger you have right here. Is like which doesn't happen when you're watching a scripted television show, where you can bring the narrative to somewhere you don't want to see.
Right, but that's also what this is. It's bringing that narrative to it because you have to do some stuff in order to get the true ending. Yeah. And you get the true ending when basically it runs through the credits and doesn't give you the option to continue.
Yeah, this is weird.
But like I said, to get there, you have to go through several ending hoops.
It sounds interesting as an experiment, but it seems like what you're saying is that actually in practice, this doesn't seem like something that a lot of people will want to do again.
Yes.
Or like in a different plot. I don't mean like playing this again, because I'm sure a lot of people will want to play this again to see what happens. But what I'm saying is, I don't see this going, like Netflix being like, all right, let's do an entire series where it's just this.
No.
No way.
No, it'd be too many hours.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that when you do basically jump back in time and redo certain events, it will literally fast forward like 10-second cuts or 5-second cuts of things, of like plot point events.
Like this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. Let's catch you up.
Let's catch you up real quick.
That's smart, because if you had to wait through the whole thing.
No.
Yeah. It works. All right, well, that sounds kind of disappointing, actually.
It's an interesting experiment.
Yeah.
I like what they had to do to go through it. But in practicality, it's not that practical.
The result is this was a neat thing to try, but
Well, because it's the same thing with other actual video game story-based narrative choices where there is an actual ending that you need to get to.
Yeah.
Everything else is just how you die.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much.
And the difference here is that, unlike a video game, there's no, like, moment-to-moment fun to be had to pad out the narrative.
Right.
It's all narrative.
Yes.
Which means, is this truly... Which, yeah, let's address one thing. We're not going to have the, is this a movie or is this a video game conversation that a lot of people on the internet had this week.
No.
Because, oh my god, this is a movie.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a game.
I don't know why they keep saying that this is a game. Just because you give choices does not make it a game.
Yeah, no. It's a whole different thing. Yeah. All right, well, we talked that to death.
Yep. Moving on.
This is why we have a shorter format now, because we can spend some time and still be able to move on.
All right, well, let's go to cancellations then.
Let's go to cancellations and renewals. This week there wasn't any cancellations or renewals.
I guess because there was no one in the office to make that call.
Yeah, it was holidays. Nothing really happened around the world of television. It's kind of just a holding period until stuff premieres. Yep. Which we do have some premieres in January, which we'll get to. But for now, we did unfortunately have 2 deaths.
Okay, who died?
First one, actually, these were both today. Bob Einstein, age 76. He was an actor on Curb Your Enthusiasm. I assume he had other comedy work as well.
Yes.
But that was his most well-known role.
Recurring role.
Yeah, a lot of people that I follow on Twitter were taking this pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently a memorable part of that show. Memorable guy. So he will be missed.
They are filming season 10?
Yeah, that thing keeps going. I don't know if that stuff's already in the can. I don't know if this character will be in that.
I don't know, but as long as Larry David's alive, I guess he'll keep making it.
Yeah, taking a break. Unless he chooses to take a break again.
Yep.
Also today, Gene Okerlund, a WWE Hall of Fame wrestler and I believe commentator later in his life.
Yes. Mean Gene.
Yeah.
Was the wrestler name.
76. Same age as Mr. Einstein. Whatever he prefers. That pronounced. But yeah, another big loss. Again, a lot of people on my Twitter were talking about this, the wrestling fans.
Yep.
Were very, very sad about this loss. So yeah, 2 rough ones.
Yep.
That brings us into the swap, sir.
Oh, the swap.
The swap.
All right.
So I've written down the billboards for you, so you don't have to look it up.
What?
Yeah, I'm going to start doing that.
Oh, okay. That makes everything a lot easier.
Also, so that we can actually read the entirety of these album names, because I hate Billboard's website.
All right. Well,
so take us to the music.
Well, that brings us to Billboard, the Hot 100.
Hot 100 singles chart.
Single charts. Topping the #1 song, beginning 2019. Thank You Next, Ariana Grande.
Thank You Coming Next. It's 7th week at #1.
Ew. Number
it's
2.
Good. Don't you, Ariana Grande.
Ew.
How dare you?
Number 2, Without Me by Halsey.
Still.
Number 3, I guess this is the Christmas spirit, All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey.
So this is kind of a follow-up to one of the stories we covered last week, which was this thing set a new Spotify record for streams in one day.
And I guess in just the one day enough to make it number 3 for the week.
Which kind of puts into stark contrast when you think of how many people are listening to music, everything else, with how much people were listening to that song. That's insane.
It's the one song people put on.
It's the Christmas song now.
Yep. Number 4 is Sicko Mode by Travis Scott.
Still.
And number 5, Sunflower by Post Malone and Sway Lee.
I heard this today, and I realized, I said to myself, I don't think I'd ever heard a Post Malone song before this.
Yeah.
I didn't know what Post Malone sounded like. I thought he would be have a lot lower voice than that.
Well, we know what he looks like, right?
Yeah, I know what he looks like.
Oh, we know what he looks like.
That voice does not sound like what that man looks like.
No.
I was very thrown off.
Sunflower, by the way, is the song from Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse.
Right, yes, that is off the Spider-Verse soundtrack.
Yep. All right, moving into the Billboard 200.
That's your albums chart.
We have I Am by I Was, I think.
Yeah, no, it's I Am is greater than I Was.
Oh, okay.
So it's a greater than symbol. It's the left-facing
parent. Oh, okay. It's by 21 Savage.
Yeah, that's the new 21 Savage record.
Okay. I Am is greater than I Was by 21 Savage.
Yes, which so I should say this now. So I listened to this today.
Oh, we have thoughts at the end.
No, I just want to briefly tell you.
Okay.
Because here's a new thing that I'm going to try to do this year.
An album a week?
Yes, like your movie a week strategy.
Yes.
I'm going to try to, and it's not necessarily going to be a new album every week.
Right.
I'm going to try to listen to the #1 album every week.
Okay.
Whether it be a new album or the same album that I've already listened to. Basically, I'm going to try to listen to every #1 this week.
Okay.
Or this year. Starting with this one. So I listened to the 21 Savage record.
I'm just trying to picture you grinding through a 21 Savage record.
It's not as bad as I thought, but I'll get back to it later. I'll get to it later.
All right.
But yes, what else is on your top?
#2, we have Hoodie Season.
Hoodie Season, I believe that's supposed to be pronounced.
Season by A Boogie with the Hoodie.
Which I have no idea what A Boogie with the Hoodie is.
Pass. #3, Christmas by Bubble. By Michael Bubble.
That's Michael Bublé Christmas records.
#4, A Star Is Born by various artists.
That's my favorite band.
And #5, The Greatest Showman. I guess this is...
This is not Before you assume, this is not the remix record.
This is the original.
This is the original soundtrack back on the top 5 during your Christmas season.
Really?
Yes.
A year later.
Isn't that crazy?
I guess people listened to that reimagined, hated it,
and went back to the original.
Like, oh yeah, I remember how good this was.
Or
right? How good this was?
No, it sucks.
How good this was?
It sucks, but okay, I'm here to say there's nothing good about The Greatest Showman.
The soundtrack is the only thing that's good.
I want to redo our deliberations for 2017 because you were wrong every step of the way.
No.
Anyways, I'm done shitting on Greatest Showman. That's it for the billboards.
All right. Upcoming, we have Jacob Banks with Village.
Yep.
Randy Houser with Magnolia.
He's a country dude, I assume.
Yes.
The way that your voice went up.
I was like, oh, I recognize that name.
That's a name I get.
Yes. Rob Bayard with After All. Soilwork with Verkleiten. And You Tell Me by You Tell Me.
Yeah, it's self-titled release.
Self-titled You Tell Me.
You Tell Me.
Hey, you tell me.
I can't tell you.
Well, I'll tell you what's next.
The news.
The news. And we start with the president's picks. Not the current president.
So
no.
Yeah, you know it's a slow week in music this week because one of the stories is just, I don't know, a former president told us what music he listened to this year.
So while he was in office, President Obama did put up Spotify playlists of music he listened to. In like the last 2 years he was in office. When Spotify became big, basically. So he's put a new album chart, I guess. New songs out?
Yeah, so he does this not only with music, he also puts his favorite movies, books, and I think that's it.
I saw his movie list, and he had Black Panther and Black Klansman on it.
Yes, he did. But his music list was interesting to me.
Yeah. Obama's musical choices were eclectic?
Yes, very eclectic.
Okay, sure. You use fancy words. Including folk rock, Brandi Carlile's Every Time I Hear That Song.
Grammy-nominated Brandi Carlile.
Okay. From rocks, Kurt Vile's One Trick Ponies.
Yeah.
And raps J. Cole's Kevin's Heart?
Kevin's Heart, which is apparently a J. Cole song. Yes.
Okay. Not about Kevin Hart.
Not about Kevin Hart.
Not about Kevin Hart, but H-E-A-R-T. Yeah. The Cottas.
Which are the Jay-Z and Beyonce record that they had this year. Last year.
They're actually friends of the Obama family, by the way.
It's true. Hung out.
They were also represented in this list.
Yeah, Ape Shit.
Yes. The president added Ape Shit, the infectious trap anthem from the duo's most recent Everything's Love. Everything is Love.
So there's a lot more on this. It's a very heavily hip-hop list beyond the kind of more eclectic choices there. So yeah, check that out if you want a playlist. You can make. I'm sure there's a Spotify playlist somebody's made of all of this music.
Yes,
and you can rock out just like Obama.
I'm sure Obama has a profile you can just follow.
I don't know, maybe. Of all the possible presidents to have a Spotify, he would be the one and only one to have one. So,
all right. Well, moving on then.
Our second story.
Our second story is about Woodstock. Yes. Yes, it's that Woodstock, but it's having a 50th anniversary.
It is. It'll be the 50th anniversary of Woodstock this year, 1969. Nice. Well,
as anticipated, there will be a 3-day event commemorating the 50th anniversary of the legendary Woodstock Music and Arts Festival.
Yeah, I thought this was pretty cool.
Yeah, taking place August 15th through the 17th at the Bethel Woods Center for the Arts, which is the site of the original event.
Yeah.
The venue will produce the venue will produce the event long with Live Nation concerts. Ew.
Yeah, but you had to partner with somebody.
The brand communications agency Invent, I-N-V-N-T. Invent.
They invent.
Yes. Described as a pan-generational cultural event that will feature live music, TED-style talks, TED Talks, and special exhibits.
Yeah.
But not exhibit.
No, exhibit won't be there.
What if you have exhibit there with an exhibit?
An exhibit?
An exhibit's exhibit.
Yeah, exhibit. That would be perfect because exhibit loves when things are inside other things.
Yeah.
So you can think while you think.
And he's pan-generational.
Yeah, so you can look at exhibit while in an exhibit.
Yes. So, while we're talking about exhibit, he's not actually there, because no one has been announced yet.
Right, yeah.
Ticket information will be announced in the coming weeks, as well as a lineup.
Yeah, this is tricky because I feel like you can't get a lot of modern acts in this because they're probably going to want to elicit the same kind of vibe of the 1969 Woodstock.
Right.
Also, this is not a tribute to all of the Woodstocks because, if you may remember, there was a brief revival of Woodstock in the 90s.
Yes.
Woodstock 94 and the notoriously terrible Woodstock 99.
I remember
Not
99.
terrible because of who performed, but terrible because of the crazy and terrible things that happened in the crowd during that year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look it up. I'm not going to talk about it here on the podcast.
Yes.
But yeah, the Woodstock name at some point had to be retired because of the things that were going around.
Right. I'm aware that Woodstock had sort of revivals.
But yeah, so this is specifically the first Woodstock. Woodstock.
Right.
So yeah, who knows who... I'm guessing probably a lot of retro-themed acts, maybe some cover bands. I wouldn't be surprised if something like... Well, I mean, this is... Yeah, I don't know. Actually, I don't know who they would pick for this.
Paul McCartney.
Just
put Paul McCartney out there, and people will add on to that list.
Yeah, but it's a tricky question because exactly what kind of level of artist are they looking for here?
Right.
I don't know if they can afford Paul. You know, he's pretty expensive.
Yeah, but if Coachella could afford him.
Yeah, but Coachella's different.
Yeah, Coachella could afford him 5 years ago before it became Coachella.
Speaking of Coachella, this just happened today, so I don't have it on the news. But just a brief extra news bit for you. It looks like that due to a stage management disagreement, the rumored headliner, I guess I should say, of Coachella this year, Kanye West, looks like that will no longer be happening.
Well, just partly on that. Coachella usually is announced, the lineups.
Soon.
Quiet. They've been mum on it.
Yeah, so January, it will happen sometime this month.
Yep.
But we'll probably hear pretty soon. But it looks like Kanye's probably out.
Yep. Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, was he there? That's the rumor I heard today.
He was there at some point, right?
He has headlined Coachella before.
Yeah. That's right, with the floating boxes.
Yep. All right.
Well, that brings us to thoughts.
Yeah.
Did you listen to anything besides Christmas music?
I did. I listened to that 21 Savage record.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I didn't know anything about 21 Savage going into this. I had seen his name written a bunch, and I had heard him referenced before. I don't know. It's very boilerplate kind of modern rap. From what I understand, this is in the same kind of... He's in kind of the same league as like your Travis Scotts of the world.
Okay.
Is that kind of mid-range.
I'm glad you're making this distinction because I'm confusing 21 Savage with 21 Pilots.
No, very different.
Yes.
So yeah, 21 Savage, I guess he has a lot of guest spots on this record, including, I guess, 2 or 3 songs where he's barely in it. So this is kind of the mode he's in. But, you know, it was all right. There were some interesting beats on this thing. There were some interesting moments. The guest spots are interesting. Your favorite Lil Baby and Gunna are on this thing. They did not drip hard enough for me to know. Drip hard. Yeah, I think Future shows up. You know, it's that kind of record. So it's like, it's fine. I don't know anybody who's way into 21 Savage, though. That's the thing, is that he seems to be in the middle of the zeitgeist, where it's like, oh, you get him for features, but he's not like a huge status rapper at this point yet. But this is his I guess, vie for that kind of stardom.
Well, I mean, it's the number 1 album, so...
Yeah, it's the number 1 album this week.
People listen to it.
Because it's a notoriously slow time for music or anything at the beginning of the year. So we'll see whether or not what he does with, whether he gets any more famous than this. But yeah, it's all right. So if you need a new rap album to whet your rap appetite, check this one out, I guess.
Whet my rap beak on.
Your rap on. But yes, so yeah, album 1 done of top albums of 2018. Okay. So I will keep on keeping on from here on out.
We'll keep on doing that. We'll keep on moving on here as we move into video games.
Alrighty, video games.
And we have new releases of video games.
Audience member says that apparently I sounded adorably white when I said good beats. It's true.
All right. Well,
I try.
Upcoming video games, we have Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story, and Bowser Jr.'s Journey.
Yes, this is a 3DS re-release of the DS Bowser's Inside Story.
Now, we don't usually cover 3DS releases.
I do now.
But we do now.
I'm all-inclusive here.
We also have the new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe.
This is another re-release. This is a Switch version of Super Mario Bros. U, which was originally a Wii U game.
And we have Tales of Vesperia, the Definitive Edition.
Guess what? Hat trick, this is also a re-release.
It's a Definitive Edition for the PlayStation, the Xbox, and the Switch.
And the PC. If it's a multi-platform release that also has a PC release, I'm going to mention it.
Alright, and the PC.
But yeah, 3 re-releases because it's January. That's where we're at right now. No new video games right now. January does have some bangers coming, but we'll have to wait.
Yep. Especially at the end of the month. That'll be my banger.
Yes, banger of all bangers. Coming up soon.
Yes.
Alright, let's move into news.
Alright, let's move into news then. And our first news story comes from the Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, this wasn't a whole lot, but it's something.
Hey, it's something because Rare is working on a new quest system, along with more story and lore for its pirate-themed online game. Sea of Thieves. The creative director, Joe Neaton, told Game Reactor in a recent interview.
So yeah, there's not much news here. We don't know when or what specifically is being added. But this is good news for people who played Sea of Thieves, because the one biggest complaint that I heard about this game last year was there's just not enough stuff to do.
Well, from what I heard of those, that it was a lot of searching around the ocean for something to do, which is, it's a ship game. What do you expect?
It sounded a lot like the complaints about No Man's Sky when it was first released, where people were like, this is good in concept, and some of the things are fun to do, but I wish there was more direction. I wish there was more like an impetus, maybe a progress system, where I could actually have a reason to do these things instead of just mindlessly walking around with my friends. And so this is a solution to that. At least what the promise of this is basically saying, like, no, we'll put a quest system in this, which makes it sound like, oh, we will actually have a narrative structure and a reason to do these things instead of just random stuff.
Well, that would make a lot more sense, because I think that's what people wanted in the first place, is give me a lot of recurring missions.
Level me up. Give me new loot.
Find me that booty.
Stuff. So yeah, no word, like I said, no word on when this is going to be released or what specifically is being added.
Alright. Well, this sounds like a slow news week. And it's a slow news week with our second story.
I love this story. It is the stupidest thing. This has actually been happening for a few weeks now, but we haven't covered it. And so here's just a huge dump about this entire story and why it's hilarious.
So, Soldier Boy.
He tells them.
You tell him, Soldier Boy. He made a video game console. Well, he made past tense a video game console, because it is no longer a thing. The Soldier game, I guess is what it's called.
What he called it, I guess.
He called it.
His people called it,
I
guess.
So the Soldier game has met its quick and inevitable end, as he's pulled his new line of emulator consoles from his own website less than a month after he began selling them. The Soldier game console and the Soldier game handheld, there's two?
Yeah.
Why is there two?
He's trying to sell a home version and a handheld version of this thing.
Both were available for a base price of $200. The console reportedly came with over 800 pre-installed games from the PlayStation, NES, Game Boy Advance, and more. And more.
If this sounds like this is illegal, it is.
It is. You can't copyright this. We had a story about this exact same thing. This is almost one of our top stories from last year.
Is.
Yeah. The handheld allegedly had over 3,000 pre-installed games and claimed it could also run Switch, 3DS, and Vita titles. Both were manufactured by Chinese company Anbernic. Yeah, Anbernic, and could be found much cheaper on other storefronts, like Amazon and Alibaba or AliExpress. It's unlikely publishers gave permission to sell their titles on the emulators.
Extremely unlikely.
Yeah, I think. Soulja Boy claimed that all the games were licensed in a Friday tweet, but one day later, the emulators were gone.
So, yeah, this, I guess, popped up a few weeks ago. Some people in the video game biz got wind that there was a Soulja Boy console being advertised on his website. And yeah, it turns out people did some digging. And yeah, it's like this Chinese company just makes a bunch of these cheap emulator machines.
That sounds like what a Chinese company would do.
Yeah, it tries to sell them to people who don't know better. And I guess somebody came to Soulja Boy at some point and was like, hey, we got this business venture. Do you want to put your name on it? And he probably didn't do enough research on it and said, yeah, sure.
Probably just told him, like, we have this game console where you can play every type of game. And
he was like, that sounds dope. I'm going to put my name on this.
Would you like to be an investor?
Yeah.
Hells yeah.
Well, that what Soulja Boy said?
That's what Soulja Boy said. He's like, hells to the yeah. Put some money in that investment shit.
And they said, you buy this Soulja game.
And you buy the Soulja handheld.
But yeah, anyways. I just thought this was dumb. I mean, clearly he should have done some more research before he put his name on this thing. He was very clear on social media that he felt like he got duped. And somebody's, he figured out somebody screwed him over here. And yeah, right, like...
So when does the Soulja Boy lawsuit happen?
I think that this probably dodges the lawsuit by him just being like, let's just take these things down and not sell them anymore. I think maybe he'll rethink how he does some of these business ventures in the future.
That's why they call it due diligence.
But yeah, if anybody out there got one of these things, please let us know, because I'm very fascinated by it.
Clearly we are fascinated by what Soulja Boy does.
Alright, that's it.
But okay, that brings us to our thoughts.
I didn't play any video games. Did you play any video games?
I
played a crap load more of Smash Brothers, but I already talked about that.
I started watching my roommate play Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful game to look at. It's a pretty game to watch. I like that it opens up with a train sequence.
Yeah.
Immediately you want to start with the bang, and heist on a train is a good way to start.
Yeah.
But as I've noticed him playing, because it is an open world game, the towns and the missions are very far apart.
Yeah, you have to go from place to place. And from what I understand about the pacing, it is plotting.
That's what he said while he was playing it. That it is very plotting, and you gotta like riding a horse if you want to make it enjoyable.
Are you saying this game is for horse girls?
Yeah.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that
you heard it.
You know how much
you heard it here. Media Boat Podcast says Red Dead Redemption 2 for horse girls.
So you know how when we're talking about Spider-Man, how it's fun to swing between each mission?
Yeah.
It's not fun to ride a horse between each mission.
Yeah. So, this seems to be the most divisive part about this game. You either really, really love this pace, and you get into it, and you start almost like role-playing the life of a cowboy, and you like let it wash over you, or that eats at you, and you can't play this game.
Yeah. I've noticed that.
Yeah. It seems like you're one of two people.
I may be in the second camp. Yeah. I might just watch him play this and then give my hand at it like at a later date. But for now,
online.
But for now, I'm not biting at the bit.
You're not champing at the bit like a horse.
Like a horse reference.
Horse reference.
To play this game.
Yeah. Oh well.
But it's fun. It's fun to watch. It's definitely fun to watch.
This would be a good I'm gonna just sit down and watch somebody play this game.
Yeah. Well, if you want to sit down and watch us maybe play this game or talk about more stuff, where could they do that?
You saying that means yes, that's it for video
games. Oh yeah, we're plugging away here.
The Media Boat Podcast, a little short one this week.
Yep.
Under an hour. Not bad.
We're gonna try to make them all an hour this season. That's our resolution for 2018.
Resolution 2019.
I almost said 2018 there.
Let's wrap it up. This was the Media Boat Podcast. If you like what you saw, we are back every Wednesday night around 6 p.m. You can catch us live on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com and search Media Boat Podcast, and you'll find our channel. Subscribe, and you'll get notifications when we go live. Sometimes we'll go earlier than 6, like we did today. You can also find the audio version of our podcast. You can find that on places like Apple Podcasts or equivalent podcast services that use the Apple Podcast RSS feed. Just search Media Boat Podcast in those machines and you'll find us. You can also find us on all sorts of social media channels. We're on Twitter at MediaBoatCast. We are on Facebook. Just search Media Boat Podcast and you'll find our page. We're on Twitch.tv when we stream video games. Twitch.tv/MediaBoat. We'll be streaming some Kingdom Hearts by the end of the year, so look forward to that.
By the end of the month.
Sorry, end of the month.
End of the month.
Definitely. Those are both true,
They're both true.
We're on patreon.com/MediaBoat if you want to help us out with money going into the new year. We have a lot of things that we'd like to do with the podcast, but we just can't practically do it without your help. So go on Media Boat Podcast on patreon.com and donate as little as $1 a month. That little amount can help us make stuff for you. Stuff that you don't even know about yet. So that's exciting, and we'd love your help. Did I miss anything?
Nope. I think we're good.
So, that'll do it for this week's episode. We'll be back next week for another episode of the 2019 Season 4 of the Media Boat Podcast.
Yep. All hour long from here on out.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
I got fingers crossed here.
All right, we'll see you next week.
All right, thank y'all for listening. Tune in next week.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Boom, how do you like that? 56.
56, Media Boat Podcast After Show.
I'm not keeping track of that. Neither are you. So, we'll see you all next week.
I guess when we were talking, just real quick, when we were talking about Greatest Showman, an audience member said that Lin-Manuel Miranda got robbed.
You didn't write this.
No, that's why. Because The Greatest Showman was nominated for a billion things, and Moana was not.
Oh. I guess if that's what you want to take it from.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. We're
Let me
out.
see here. Top chat. Nothing.
No, nothing.
Nothing.
Bye.
Nothing. Okay, bye.